My name's Adam, and welcome to my playthrough of Dark Souls 2. So I was encouraged to do this by a streamer, Biss, and I like Dark Souls 2. To talk about Dark Souls 2 on the stream quite a bit. He encouraged me to do a playthrough. The goal of this is just a regular playthrough, help you out, approximately 45 minutes to an hour episodes, just going through the game like a person normally would. Nothing too complicated. It's not going to be 100%, but it's going to be close. Like, we're going to go through all the areas, maybe not the DLC, and we're going to go through them in a way that you can get most of the stuff done in the areas. So, let's start a new game, and let's see how it goes.
Perhaps you've seen it. Maybe in a dream. A murky, forgotten land. A place where souls may mend your ailing mind. You will lose everything. Once branded. The symbol of the curse. An augur of darkness. Your past, your future, your very light. None will have meaning, and you won't even care. By then, you'll be something other than human. A thing that feeds on souls, a hollow. Long ago, in a walled-off land far to the north, a great king built a great kingdom. I believe they called it Drang Lake. Perhaps you're familiar. No, how could you be? But one day, you will stand before its decrepit gate without really knowing why. Drawn to a flame. Your wings will burn in anguish. Time after time. For that is your fate. The fate of the cursed.
Okay, so that's the opening cutscene, and now we find ourselves in Things Betwixt, the starting area of Dark Souls 2. Not a ton of lore in the opening cutscene. If you look at the other Souls games, you got Dark Souls Remastered, which gives you basically the whole backstory of the world. You've got Dark Souls 3, which is going to give you quite a bit of backstory about like the current age you live in. Dark Souls 2, not so much. So here we are. You can see we're Hollow. Everyone starts off in the exact same clothing. We haven't selected our class yet. We haven't selected our starting build or starting gift yet. And we're here in this field. So the only way really to go is this way. We can come up here, and we can see a light up there. We've got these skeletons. There's a game you can play where you try to roll over every single skeleton. Like, it's worth it. You don't get a reward for it, but it is worth it. And so as we head up here, this is where in the game we'll be able to select our starting class and our starting gift. So we'll head in, and we'll talk to these ladies.
What seems to be the ruckus?
Oh my, your face. The face of the curse. It's an undead. An undead has come to play. They all end up here. All the ones like you. You spoke to that kind old dear, didn't you?
You're finished. You'll go hollow.
I mean, that's your opinion.
Yes. You'll become one of them.
Hollows prey upon men, feast upon their souls. This is the fate of the cursed.
What is your name?
Okay, now we're to character creation. So we're going to pick a very specific name. And there's a little trick we can do in the future if we pick this one specific name. So we're going to be Maulin.
At least you know your own name. Here's your reward for sharing. It's a human effigy.
Take a closer look. Who do you think it's supposed to be?
Maybe it's me.
Think back, deep into your past. Yes, it's an effigy of you.
So class and gift. If you've never played Souls games before, the class is not that important. You can pick any of these. It really doesn't affect your game very much, if at all. So a lot of people pick Deprived because you start off with the lowest amount of levels. It means you level slightly quicker. It's not that big of a deal. For us, I'm going to play as a knight because the stats that the knight gets starting off really are the ones I'm going to be investing in during the entire game. So I don't play magic, so I'm not going to pick something like a sorcerer, or I don't do faith build, so I'm not going to pick a cleric. It's a very minor difference, but I don't need any extra points, say, in faith, attunement, or intelligence. So we'll pick knight. Starts us off with a sword. Sword is decent. Starts us off with decent health, decent endurance, decent adaptability, which is an important stat. It's not like the most important stat. We'll talk about adaptability. For gift, there's really only one gift I think is all that worthwhile. It's not the life ring. It's not human effigy. It is healing wares. This is going to start you off with quite a few healing items called life gems. In Dark Souls 2, there are generally 2 healing items used throughout the entire game: Estus and life gems. And we don't have our Estus flask yet. We don't start with it, so we might as well start with some life gems. Some other stuff, like this is all very common. Homeward Bone, very common. Bonfire Aesthetic, we're probably not going to use any of those. Petrified something, we'll get those. Seed of a Tree of a Giant, so that's like a multiplayer item. We're not going to need it, so we pick that. And there's one more thing that we need to do to pull off the cheat. Not the cheat, but the cheese. And we need to be bald. So our name is Mowlin, and our hair is bald. These are 2 very specific things that we want to do. So here we go. We have finalized our creation. And now we're in the game.
All people come here for the same reason. To break the curse.
You're no different, I should think. Doesn't stand a chance.
I may. This is not my first time through this
You
game.
never know. Go through the door and trot along to the kingdom.
But remember, hold on to your souls. They're all that keep you from going hollow. Oh, I'll fool you no longer. You lose your souls. All of them. Over and over again.
Okay, so watch this. We're in our imported tunic. This is our starting clothing. In a second, we're going to be in the knight armor. I just want to point out, there's no bathroom in here. Like, how did we change? Did we just strip down and change in front of all these ladies? Like, that's something that people have wondered about Dark Souls 2 for quite a while. So, lore-wise, we've got these 3 old ladies. They are fire keepers. No, get it. It's my cat. I named her Gata, which is just the feminine form of cat in Spanish. And that was a play on words because my wife adopted her. And I view cats as somewhat generic, so I gave her a very generic name. But then my wife stopped liking her, so she became my cat. So down here, also we've got this one young lady. Her name's Millibeth. We don't really need to talk to her, but you could talk to her if you wanted to. So this is a entry area. It seems like everyone who comes to Drangleic comes through this little cabin, and you get a human effigy, and you can come up here, and you can actually steal the next player's human effigy. So the next person who spawns into this game to do a playthrough won't receive a human effigy themselves. We can open up this door. We've got a bonfire on the other side. You can light bonfires without resting at them. I'm not aware of any bonfires in this game where you automatically rest at them. And if we were to die, we would respawn at the last bonfire we either rested at or that we lit. We can grab some souls and a torch, and then we are going to head back out here to where we came from. And it's going to be slightly different coming back out here, because now we've got our weapon, now we've got our armor, now we've got some life gems, and there's a couple things we're going to do just here in the starting area before we move on. Let's grab the small suit. I can't say that. That's a tongue twister. It's the small, smooth, and silky stone. So we'll grab that, and we're going to come to this area right here, and we can see these footprints right up here. Obviously, we're coming up to a somewhat big enemy. Sometimes people will call these Cyclops. Sometimes people will call these ogres. I tend to call them ogres. I don't know the exact name. These enemies, there's a fairly simple way to fight them. You just try to get behind them, and they will sit down on you. So that was not a sit down. Here's one right here. It sits down. It needs to recharge its attack. You can attack it a couple times, maybe even 3 times while it does this. If it hits you with this attack, it's not even that dangerous. And just let it back itself into the corner. Okay. One more hit. And now we're going to have to fight it from the front. And we want to, it's going to do these attacks. We don't want to attack it until it gets into some animation it's locked in. And we got it. And by fighting this enemy, killing the ogre, we get 1,000 souls, but we also get this ring, the stone ring. And we can equip this ring right away. Additional reduction for enemy pose, or of enemy poise. For this, it gives us a chance to stagger certain enemies, mainly bosses. That while we're fighting the boss, sometimes we'll get in a hit and it'll stagger it, and that'll give us a chance to strike one more time. It'll give us a chance to heal. It's a useful ring. It's not the most useful ring. I recommend everyone gets it. Mind you, you don't need to get it like right after that. You can always do a couple areas and come back to it, but I recommend everyone gets that ring. And we're not going to use that ring the whole game. So we come through here. This is the tutorial area. So in this starting area, there's no bosses. Not a single boss. There's one mini boss, but we don't have access to that mini boss yet. So we're just going to walk through. You'll see right there, here is a stone statue. A statue blocks your way. We need a consumable item to unlock that statue. And since we don't have it, we just continue on. And we're just going to skip the tutorial area for right now, too. We'll come back to this. We'll be back to this pretty quickly. Within 3-4 areas, we'll be back to this. And we'll clear out things betwixt. So we move on. And we head towards the hub area of the game, which is called Majula. Now, a lot of people think Majula is the best hub area of all the Souls games. I'd say it's tied between here and Firelink Shrine in Dark Souls Remastered. But this is a pretty good hub area. And a lot of people think that with Majula being the best hub area, it makes Dark Souls 2 the best Souls game. So I don't disagree with the sentiment, but I don't think it's just for this reason. So in Majula, we've got a bonfire. We've got 4 ways out. We can go to 4 different areas, technically. And then we can go back to things betwixt. We've got some items, and we've got some NPCs to interact with. So right here, that's going to lead us to a mid-game area. We're just going to skip that for now. And then we'll work our way around to the left. Right here, another mid-game area. Someone built this giant well or giant pit. And while they were building this pit, they even put some crossbeams in for us to jump down to. Now, we don't have enough health. Even if our health was full, we don't have enough health to go down here. That leads to another mid-game area, and so we're going to skip that too. So here's this guy. We need to talk to this guy.
Hello there. Welcome to my shop. I'm Morlin, and I sell armor.
He sells armor. His Malin. He's got the same name as us.
Please do have a look at my wares.
He's also bald, just like us.
I could really use the business. If you'd be so kind.
So let's look at his wares. I have a feeling this is going to be the last chance we have to look at his shop. So he sells some armor stuff. We've got the armor that we spawned with, along with a helmet, which we didn't spawn with. We've got some hollow infantry armor. And we've got some of, like, I think this is a warrior armor set. Let's go back.
Well, I do hope I see you again.
Oh, you will. So, let me run up here, steal this item from him. Now, there's 2 ways to complete this guy's quest line. One way is to buy stuff from him, and over time he becomes more confident, more arrogant, and just kind of turns into a jerk. And he moves from sitting here on the floor to sitting right there on that box. Now, there's actually another way to complete his quest line, and that's just to cut off his skin and wear it as our own. Now, you're going to notice we're Maulin, and we're bald, just like he is. So no one here in Majula is even going to notice if something happens to him. So Maulin is dead. But we're mauling ourselves. And he drops this armor set. We're going to equip this armor set and use it for probably about half to 2/3 of the game. Alright, because we're mauling. No one knows the difference between us and him. We walked in, and we just walked out. Nothing happened. What you're going to notice with this armor set is the next enemy, or possibly NPC, looking over at that tower right there, that we kill, we're not going to get not an even number of souls, but just a normal number of souls. We've got a buff that's going to give us more souls for every enemy we kill. This place is locked. We'll be in here pretty quickly. We smack this rock. An item comes up. And we have an Estus Flask shard. We don't have our Estus Flask yet, but we're about to get that. And then back there, you can see that little brown thing. That's a pig. I think there's 3 or 4 pigs back there. They're enemies. They're hostile. We're not going to mess with them. They're actually kind of hard. And there's no benefit to messing with them. We've got this cat right here. Her name is Shalquar. We could talk to her if we wanted to. We're not going to. She sells items. If you ever lock yourself in a covenant, she's the one who is able to release you from that covenant. And then sometimes where she's right there, we can actually talk to her through the wall.
Oh, undead are we?
We're talking to the cat.
And one without much time remaining.
No, I disagree.
Just about ready to fall apart, I'd say.
No, I'm Malvin. I have an armor shop.
Not exactly the time to be chatting with a cat.
No, that's true.
Well, suit yourself.
Okay,
Oh,
so
yeah.
we're going to leave.
My.
We really don't need to talk to her that much throughout the game. As we progress through the game, we can go talk to her and get like updates, and she keeps tabs on our progress, but we're not going to. So this area right here, this is one of the 2 starting areas, or this tunnel will lead us to one of the 2 starting areas, the Hyde's Tower of Flame. That is considered the more advanced starting area, so we're not going to go to that one first. Like, that area is doable, but it can get pretty tough just starting out. So we've got this shrine right here. If we wanted to, we could join a covenant right now. Nothing's really explained about these covenants. You probably just need to look them up. We're not going to join this covenant. This would have us be part of the Company of Champions, and that would make the game quite a bit harder. I've played through the game like that. I've beat the game like that. It is a more challenging experience. I'm not going to say it's better, but it is more challenging. It would make enemies have more health, hit harder, most of the bosses to kill you in 2 shots, and then there's no multiplayer. So we're going to avoid that. We can come over to this guy. He's important to talk to. His name is Leningrast.
Who are you? Oh, it doesn't matter. Just help me open this door.
This door.
I packed my tools in here, seeing it was vacant.
You can see his tools in there.
But now somebody's gone and locked the door. I'm a blacksmith. I'm nothing without my tools. Bring me that key. Chop chop.
Alright, so we need to find this key to unlock the blacksmith here in
I'm a
Majula.
blacksmith. I'm nothing without my tools.
So I'm Malvin.
That key.
You
Chop
can
chop.
see my shop just over there. I will look for your key. People make a big deal about it, that there's an open window right here, and there's an open window right there, and we could just climb on through. But this is not a one-sided lock. This is a 2-sided lock. So even if we climb through, the door would still be locked. So we need to look for that key. Let's head up here. This is the area that we were talking about, where we'd go through in that tunnel over there. We've got Hyde's Tower of Flame right there, just behind my hat. And then a second area, which is the Cathedral of Blue. 2 areas more or less wrapped into one. We can head up here. Now we're playing in offline mode, so we can access this. It says 0 deaths worldwide. If we were in online mode, it would be like 80 billion deaths, and it tracks all the deaths of all the people who play online mode. Like, we're talking more deaths than World War II. But since we're in offline mode, it's only going to track our deaths, unless one time I forget to make it offline mode and I enter this for the playthrough in online mode. Then we'd see all the deaths if we went to this, which we're really not going to go back. And then we've got this guy right here, which is the Crestfallen Warrior. We can talk to him. He's more or less the same as the Crestfallen Warrior in Dark Souls Remastered.
You have that distinct scent. The smell.
Blah 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 blah. There's really only one way to complete this guy's quest line. Like in Dark Souls Remastered, Crestfallen Warrior, there's more to do with him. For this guy, he'll talk to us a bit. He'll share some philosophical thoughts, and then he pretty much just sits there. But if we complete his quest line,
What are you doing?
we actually get something from him, and we help him out too.
Have you unhinged?
Like, we are helping him right now. I just want to point that out. He may not realize it, but sometimes you help people and they don't realize it. There we go. He has peace. He also drops this ring, which we're going to use. Ring of Steel Protection increases physical defense. We're not going to use this ring for very long, but it's there. And we help them complete his quest line. Like, that's important. Let's talk to this lady.
Are you the next monarch,
I'm Melon.
or merely a pawn of fate?
No, I'm Melon. You can see my shop over there. I sell
Bearer
armor.
of the curse. I will remain by your side till this frail hope shatters. Take this with you. May it ease your journey.
So we get the Estus
Go on
Flask.
and see the king. He who made Drangleic what it once was. He who peered at the essence of the soul. King Vendrick.
So we can use the Emerald Herald to level up.
Bearer of the curse, seek misery. For misery will lead you to greater, stronger souls. You will never meet the king with a soul so frail and pallid.
No, it's possible. You can level 1 this game. I've never tried
Seek
it.
those whose names are unutterable. The four endowed with immense souls. Their souls will serve as beacons. Once you have found them, return here to me, so that hope will not fade away.
I will do that.
Is that a shard you found? Here, let me see it, so that I may help you to see light, to see hope, however faint it might be.
If we are ever carrying an Estus Flask shard in our inventory, she will give us that to remind us to upgrade our Estus Flask. So the way the Estus Flask works here in Dark Souls 2 is it starts with 1 healing charge, and every shard we add to it increases it by 1 more, so it scales linearly. And then we can level up. We're not going to level up quite yet, but this is how we would level up. And we can increase these stats. Once again, we're going to ignore faith, we're going to ignore intelligence, and we are going to ignore attunement, because those are all spellcasting or miracle stats. Vigor increases health, endurance increases stamina, vitality increases equip load, strength and dex are for using weapons, and adaptability changes how many iframes or invincibility frames we have when we roll. People don't like this stat because you start with very few and you can increase it, and it can change the way that you play the game, but it just is what it is. Like, in real life, you would upgrade your adaptability and get more iframes, and nobody complains about it in real life, so I don't know why people are complaining about it in Dark Souls 2. Just being nitpicky. Let's rest at the bonfire. What you're going to notice is when we rest at the bonfire, we are going to heal our health back to full. If our Estus is used, it will heal, it will regenerate the SS back to maximum. And then if you look next to our weapon, you see that little red bar that's about 2/3 full. That's the durability of our weapon. It'll bring our weapon durability back to 100%. And also when we rest, we reset any enemies in this area. So, for example, those pigs over there, had we fought the pigs, they would come back after we rest. And if we went back over there, we would have to fight them again. So we're going to go to this area over here. We're going to take a slightly roundabout way. But right here, this will lead us to the Forest of the Fallen Giants, or that fort over there. This is the easier of the two starting areas. But we're going to come this way to grab a couple more items. Nothing that we're going to use, but we're just going to grab the items. So right here, we can jump down. And be careful in Dark Souls 2, sometimes you tend to just launch yourself off edges. So try to aim for a wall, something that's going to keep you from launching yourself down into the ocean. That would be an insta-death right there. So we grab that weapon, we grab that healing catalyst, and now we grab the binoculars. Then we hop over here. And we are back right here, heading down into Forest of the Fallen Giants. Now for these chests, there's two types of chests. Well, technically three types of chests. There's the metal chest, there's a wooden chest, and then there's a mimic. And we'll run the mimics. If you've played any other Souls games, you remember mimics. They're the enemies that look like a chest and then attack you when you open them up. So just to give us a little bit of lore right here. So this door, we can't open it. There's no option for us to open it. I'm pressing the activate button. It is stuck. But you're going to notice it's running straight ahead and appears to be going slightly down. Now if we come over here, we can open this door. And that's what we're going to do. But as we go through this door, you're going to see something very interesting. So that other iron grate door, you'll notice it would be like right here, but it's not. And I just wanted to cover that. It's not in the wiki, but it is part of the lore of this game, that iron grate door just kind of like disappears. Like it would have led nowhere anyway, so it doesn't matter that it didn't open. So we come down here, we can walk down here and come to an area where there's going to be some enemies to fight. Or we can walk down this plank and we've got this chest right here. Now I'm going to destroy this chest. Wooden chests you can destroy. If we were to open this up, we would get a human effigy, which we really don't need those. No, get to, no. Nope. Daddy's busy. Daddy's busy. Now if we destroy this chest, we get a worse item. So we'll probably get rubbish if we destroy this chest. Rubbish instead of a human effigy. So if you ever fight an enemy near a chest, you might want to back off a bit. If you think a chest is a mimic, a lot of times you can attack it once without destroying it, depending on how strong your weapon is. And then if it's a mimic, you'll see the health bar appear. If it's not, you'll just see it shake a bit, and you should probably stop attacking it. So we're going to go here. We're going to jump this. We can't just run across, but if we jump it, we can make it to the other side, and we can get those consumables, and then we enter the area all the same. And if you don't jump it, if you don't feel like jumping it, you can just walk down that little path and then loop around. Here's the path right here. So we've got the ogre, and he doesn't aggro unless we go near him. And then we've got these hollows. So, Combat 101 in Dark Souls 2. It's generally advantageous to strike first before the enemy winds up. Let's say we strike and miss, or we get hit. Just jump away. Combat in this game is slow enough, you typically can't strike your way out of being hit. You get hit once. If you try to strike, you will continue to get hit. Your wind up takes too long. So you get hit, just like this, jump away. He strikes us. We're trying to strike right now. It's just too slow. We can't do it. Jump away, attack again. That's Combat 101. We've got an enemy up here that shoots arrows at us. If you ever get hit in the head with an arrow, and it's not really much you can do about it, it just happens, it'll be like an extremely long stagger animation. Like, we're talking 3 seconds plus. There's nothing you can do. Once you're hit, you're locked into it. But just be aware, if you ever stagger like excessively, that's what happened. So we've got these guys. We can kill these guys. They're not too tough. We can grab some items, and then we can go back and mess with the ogre. And when going through a Dark Souls 2 area, it's usually best to kill the enemies that come to you first, and then go after the enemies that kind of stand off a bit. Because if we just run through this and we aggro everyone, they will all be attacking us, including the ogre. Try not to just run through and explore. Try to clear enemies as you go. So we're getting close, so he's watching us. But once again, we're going to do this the right way. And we're going to have the sit-down animation where we can attack him as he tries to squash us with his giant butt. And getting hit is not even that bad. Like, I'll get hit right now. It'll stagger us, but there's not that much damage it will do to us. Okay, he missed. Let me try one more time. Because this guy can straight up one-shot you. For this, we get this long stagger, but that's it. Because he has a grab attack. Well, he'll jump up and eat you with his mouth, and that's a one-shot. Even to, like, midway through the game, that's a one-shot. So we got him. You'll notice the first ogre we killed, we got 1,000 souls. The second ogre with the souls buff from Maulin's armor set, we got, what, 1,243 souls? And that's why we're going to wear this armor pretty much the whole game. If we swap out one article of clothing from this armor set, we lose the whole buff. So we're going to use this until we get one specific armor set all the way in Drangleic Castle. Alright, here we are. Now you'll notice some of the enemies here in this area just lay down until we get too close, and then they aggro, like this guy right here. This is not throughout the whole game. This is literally like just this area. For most of the game, enemies just aggro when you get too close to them, but they're standing, they're not hiding from you. Why? Don't know. What we're going to realize with this game is that the devs who made this game are extremely smart. And so we need to be just a little bit smarter than them. So if we were to run through and aggro all these enemies, which we're going to do, but just not quite yet, and then we see this ladder, we are going to think, okay, we can escape these enemies through this ladder, funnel them up. But nope, as soon as we use this ladder, this guy climbs down, takes away the use of the ladder from us. And that would kill us. So, down here's the area we just came from. We need to jump across to get that item. Be careful doing this jump. If you miss it completely and just fall straight down, you will die. If you jump and you don't make it far enough, you'll take significant damage. Now we've got these life gems, which we're going to use a life gem pretty quick to show you how they work. But just be careful jumping through. So we made the jump, we're fine. Grab this item. Let's look at some of the items we've got. So stuff we've accumulated, we've got our life gems, our varying power. We've got something that reduces poison, which poison is not an issue. We've got a divine blessing, which is another healing item. Green herb increases stamina. Homeward bone, we could return for the last bonfire we rested at. Dark sign pretty much is equivalent to a death. Like, there's no reason to ever use the dark sign. A throwing knife, Gold pine resin, this would attach a buff to our weapon. Rusted coin, I never use these. Rubbish, I never use these. Souls is equivalent to having souls but in your savings account. If you die, we're going to lose the souls in the bottom right corner, the 4757 souls. We would need to go recover those souls from where we died before we die again. For these, we maintain these souls until we actually consume them and use them. Black separation crystal, we're not doing multiplayer, but that would send a summon home. Bone rewarder restores the link to other worlds. I think we would, since we're in offline mode, we could use this and go back into online mode. And then the small, smooth, and silky stone is a consumable. We'll cover that in a little bit. We're not going to cover that yet. That has to do with things betwixt. So let's head back up. You'll notice as I run, my green stamina bar goes down. If we ever deplete that to 0, it'll actually go below 0. The bar won't show going below 0, but it will. And it'll put a debuff on us to where we're not going to be able to run again until it completely regens. So if you're able to keep tabs on that, try to not run it down to 0. If you're watching it, try to keep it, 10%. And that way, should we need to use it before it completely recharges, there's no problem. So we've got this guy up here. And if we were to stay down there with those enemies, he's going to throw fire bombs at us. We'll bait out a fire bomb right now. So let's aggro him. And he's going to throw the fire bomb. It's just a small, explosive. Also, just be really careful. Falling at this height typically is going to be fatal. Fall damage is incredibly impactful here in Dark Souls 2. Far more than, say, Dark Souls Remastered or Dark Souls 3. Like, in those games, you could fall, significant distances. You can fall, off the top tower of Anor Londo and be just fine. Here, no. If you fall 20 feet, you're dead. So we killed that guy. And let's head back down to where all those enemies are at. Something that's very dangerous in Dark Souls 2 is overlapping attacks. So when multiple enemies attack you at the same time, it's hard to time your strikes. With one enemy, we'll just activate this guy. He can come in, he can swing, we can dodge, and now we know he's not going to be attacking for a certain period of time. Once we stack up enemies, they're coming in at all different times. It's very hard to get in strikes without being hit yourself, or even to get in strikes, period. So we'll run around, and we'll aggro all these guys. These are easy guys to kill. And what we're going to see is with all these people coming at us, it's going to be hard to get a good time to strike clean and get away. So if we were to just sit there and strike, we would certainly start taking hits. So what we're going to do is we're going to run a bit and string these guys out and get a strike in and back away. So if you ever have lots of enemies, just get a strike in, have plenty of stamina, have enough stamina to run away, and then just whittle them down. And by, we're going to have less enemies to fight. So just like that. And we're going to use the life gem. These are slow healing items. You're going to see my health bar increasing gradually over time. Now these are very useful too, because we can actually move and walk while we're using the life gem. Estus locks us in place. And with Estus, a lot of times we're going to take hits if an enemy is too close to us. With the life gem, sometimes the enemies miss us because they strike where we were, not where we're going. So you saw we took some hits. It's hard to avoid with that many enemies because if we're striking, another attack is coming in. Let's grab these items right here. Nothing's important, but we're still going to grab them. Got a human effigy. Okay, so I activated the backstab. Typically, I don't go for many backstabs in this game, but it does lock you into this animation. You do have some invincibility during the animation, but I still don't use it a ton in Dark Souls 2. It's somewhat random in Dark Souls 2 compared to Dark Souls Remastered. Like, you have to be a certain distance behind an enemy. With Dark Souls Remastered, like, literally you can just stand right behind their back and it'll activate the backstab. For this, if you're too close, it will not activate. So we've got these two paths to go. And remember what I said before. The devs who made this game are extremely smart, so we need to be just this much smarter. The first time you play this game, you're going to think, I can just walk up here and I can dodge an enemy. But look, right here, we're going to jump into a room with 3 enemies. And this is a small room. And this is a dangerous place to be because it doesn't give us many places to dodge. It doesn't give us many places to fall back and regen our stamina. So the devs got us in that trap. Like, we tried, but we were just not smart enough. Let's grab this item. Now you're going to see, had we gone this other way, we still would have fought an enemy. And then coming through here, devs are smart. Devs put an enemy right there that we're not going to see. But because I played this game a bunch, I know where the enemy's at. Run away. Now, if you're ever getting attacked like that, you need to heal. One of the best things to do is dive around a corner real fast. Like, make a hard turn around a corner, just like this. The enemies can't round corners as fast as us. And it'll give us a little bit of time, typically, to get off a heal. We got this guy. He can't shoot his bow. That's pretty typical. He misses the first time. So we've got that guy throwing firebombs. We've got an archer up on a ledge, which we can't attack him yet. At least we can't with our melee weapon. So we're just going to leave him be. Let's grab this item. And let's head up those stairs back there. We've got an item back there, and we've got this door. Let's open this door first. Oh no! The devs are super smart, and they put this guy here to ambush us if we open the door. Like I said, you're going to learn real quick that we got to be smarter than the devs in this game. And that's part of what makes this game so good, is that the devs were there first, they know what we're going to do, and they're going to trap us when we try to do just real common things. Here's a bonfire. We're going to rest of that. We got this NPC right there. So we're starting to accumulate a fair amount of souls, at least for this far into the game. We want to buy souls from her. I mean, not buy souls. We want to buy items from her. If we buy enough items from her, which we're going to do fairly fast, then we are going to get a gift from her, another buff to how many souls we get for every enemy slain. So let's talk to her.
Buy something, anything. Oh, come now, help an old woman and buy something.
We will. And also, if we deplete her dialogue, she will move back to Majula after we beat one of the bosses in this area. So we're just going to delete her dialogue. She talks about the things she saw in her past. It's really important. You probably want to listen to it to understand the lore of this game.
It's high time that I pick up a move. I've a bargain for you next time we meet like that.
Okay. So we're going to buy some things. You'll notice that she sells Leningrass Key. So we're going to buy that for 1,000 souls. Pretty much mandatory you grab that. And then after that, we're just going to buy some items to spend souls with her. So we'll buy this Pharos Lockstone. We don't technically need it yet, but we're going to need it fairly quickly. And then we'll just buy some life gems. So we've got Leningrast's key. We do need to head back to Majula, but we're going to do one more thing before we head back just to save time. Well, 2 more things. Maybe 3. We've got this door right here. It's locked, but in this area only, once again, not like a Dark Souls 2 game-wide thing, if we see these doors that are kind of messed up, we can just attack our way through them, and they will break. We've got a Crystal Lizard in here, which we want to kill. Oh, come on, get it, get it. I didn't get it. We'll come back. If we just rest, that Crystal Lizard will be back for us to kill. And those guys typically drop a Titanite something, which is an upgrade item in this game. And then if we're careful, we can just drop down onto this branch, pick up a Divine Blessing, which is a healing item. We're going to rest, and we're going to go back and get that Crystal Lizard. And you kind of have to attack these at a slight offset. Well, we're not going to rest again. We'll get that guy, but not just right now. But you have to attack those at a slight offset, because if you swing straight at them, a lot of times the path of your weapon will miss. And we are going to head down into this area right here and grab a better starting weapon. Way better than what we've currently got. Now this is pretty quick to get to. We could take this ladder right here and it would take us all the way down to the bottom. But we're going to take the slightly longer path to grab a couple of items along the way. You can see them down here. So, jump across. Grab this. Human effigies. If we ever die, we will assume a hollow form. We'll look different. We'll look like a zombie. And we'll have slightly less health than before. A human effigy will restore us to this form right here. If we continue dying, we will go down to 50% health eventually. And there's a ring that would change that to 75% health. And we'll get that ring fairly quickly. So if you ever die a few times, it might be worthwhile to burn a human effigy. So we've got these hollow infantry soldiers here. And then we've got a slightly harder, I wouldn't say hard, but a slightly harder enemy coming up. These old Ironsides or Ironbacks, I forget what they are. We've got that guy right there with the mace, and we've got that guy right there with the mace. We cannot backstab this guy. Now we can trigger that animation, and we can attack him while he recovers from it. But if you try to backstab, he will flatten you. For enemies like this, and there's a lot of enemies like this, it's just you wait for them to attack, you dodge, you attack yourself. Old Ironclad, that's their name. You're typically not going to stagger this guy, so just let him attack, let him miss, come in, and then get your attacks in. and with several attacks, we can take him out. And that's going to change once we get this new weapon. That's a shield. I don't use shields in Dark Souls 2. I do use shields in Dark Souls Remastered, but we're just not going to be using the shield in this game. Okay. My keyboard, for unknown reasons, just died. I flicked it off. I flicked it back on. We're good. And here is the starting weapon of choice for this game, the Fire Longsword. Now, we can't use this weapon yet. We don't have quite enough dexterity. So we are going to head back up these stairs, and we are going to head back to Majula to level up. And you can sprint upstairs. Okay. Keyboard just died again. There we go. We're going to look into the keyboard really quick. But you can sprint upstairs by holding the sprint button while you climb upstairs. It's a really good feature in Dark Souls 2. Some would say that's part of the reason why Dark Souls 2, especially the Scholar Edition. And we gotta be careful because my keyboard's going out. And I can't even Alt F4. There we go. Okay. I had to Alt F4 there. Let's figure out what's going on with this keyboard. Okay. Let's plug back in. Let's see if this fixes it or if I need to swap out the battery, which I hope I don't need to do. The battery's pretty new inside this keyboard. I swapped it out like 2 weeks ago. And we may just switch to a different keyboard. Okay, we're just switching to a different keyboard. I've got the second keyboard, which when I play games with my baby, she gets the keyboard. Well, she gets this keyboard to play on, and then I get to play on my keyboard. And then not every keyboard has the equal amount of input to the games we play. But she doesn't know that. So let me string this up real quick. And we'll be back to playing. Can't find the port. There's the port. We're back in business. And we've got my character we've created, Maolin, and we've got Baby, and we've got Baby. Those are my baby's characters. So we just spawn back in exactly where we left off. I didn't have enough space to do that Estus Shard Flask. I run around the corner, round it nice and hard. And even though I got hit with Firebomb, I was able to get the heal off. And I don't know why, but my cursor is still present. So we're going to travel back to Majula. And we're going to end this episode. We're almost at an hour. But we will pick back up here in Majula at the next episode. So see you later.